So, today's topic is, as we all know, how we do mistakes being an SEO practitioner. And I think so. Most SEO failure stories aren't caused by bad execution, but they are caused by fixing the wrong problems. So, in today's session, we'll unpack quite a bit of interesting pointers why SEO conversations jump into solutions very early, how audits, tools, Google updates often hide the real issue, what can be the cost of misdiagnosis in modern SEO terms, and why clear thinking matters more than tactics in AI led search. So, yeah, if you all care about why SEO breaks, this session is for all of us to figure that out, and then let's dive into it. Over to you, Malar.
Sure. So, welcome back on episode 128. And interesting topic because we are going to talk about why most SEO problems are misdiagnosed. And the reason, I guess, or rather, one of the reason, I guess, is most of the times we jump onto the symptoms and think, oh, yeah, there is a rank drop. Oh, there is a crawl spike. Oh, there could be something else, right? Without really trying to understand what could really be happening. Is that a query intent versus content, etc., kind of issues. So we'll dive deeper into all the stuff on this episode. So stay tuned, and as usual, we start with the basics and then go further, uh, peel the onion kind of stuff. We'll go deeper into it. Okay, so let me get started with the first question, and it comes like when someone says SEO is not working, what are they usually reacting to, and what is getting missed from your experience?
Okay, I think so. Currently, I'm the only one on the panel, but we would want more folks joining us on the panel. Kamlesh, Deepak, please do join in and share your thoughts. Um, Anirudh also. Anirudh, welcome. So, I think so. Most SEO folks are kind of reacting and not responding. So they are reacting to a signal, but not a system outcome in a sense. So, for example, if there are some events, the traffic has dropped, or the rankings have disappeared, or the conversions have dropped. So these are all events that happen, and we kind of, as SEO practitioner, we are kind of wired to react to these problems. But in all of this, what gets missed is what exactly changed, where did it change, and compared to what baseline it changed. So we are so much into the weeds and the nitty gritties of execution that we forget to zoom out and kind of take a 10,000 feet view picture. What's going on in the industry? What's going on with the competitors? And that's where I think so. Uh, we as a SEO practitioner miss looking from a zoomed out picture.
Perfect. I completely agree because see, most of the times it's those superficial, or say if we say some of those points from analytics where we just pick up and say, okay, this could be the problem. Whereas uh, it's very difficult for someone to comprehend that it could be a larger issue. And that again brings me to the next question is why does this happen, right? Why do SEO conversations jumps to the fixes before clearly understanding the larger problem?
Yeah. uh, I think so. We as SEOs are in a way wired to take a lot of actions, and when we react to um, any of the negative impacts, and because these actions makes us feel productive, and thinking probably feels slow. So it's more about getting those dopamine hit of taking reactive actions to ranking drops or traffic drops. And these small fixes, as an SEO practitioner in an agency, these small fixes reduce anxiety in weekly or monthly meetings with our clients. So clear problem definition often exposes uncertainty, and I think so that's a little uncomfortable, but that should be the way to probably go forward for SEO practitioner. But we have Isha with us. Hey Isha, welcome back to SEO talk, and um, we would love to know your agency perspective.
Hi, Parth, hi, Malad, hey, everyone. Okay, so Parth already talked about the controversial part of it. That I'll just add my 2 cents cent to this. I personally feel the reason why this happened is a we so see, I mean, we take SEO as silos, and that's why when we talk about the reporting and everything, we do it. Um, we do it exclusively from only SEO perspective. But if we do it inclusive from everything which has happened, the story is very different. So one is like because we are just seeing things on one lens. Second is second most important thing is that like which part already mentioned is that uh, SEO is a job of being patient, which most of us doesn't have. So most of the time, what happens is that suddenly, if things are happening, we just to find out reasons we get impatient and we start digging out the things or we start creating our own stories out of it rather than uh, having the complete lens to it. And third and the most important thing which I always talk about is that SEO is a R&D job, research and development. So you just cannot claim on one single reason which can be like for example like the only thing that okay for a specific keyword your ranking is dropped, that is why your traffic is dropping. You cannot come to a conclusion just because your impressions and the things are dropping. There are so many things behind it which you need to study, which you need to think through, and then make a decision.
Perfect, Trisha. Deepak, Kamlesh, I'm not sure if you heard the question, but if you heard the question and you have a point of view, please.
Hi Parth, hi Malhar bhai. Sorry, there was an issue um, in joining, so I could not hear the question properly.
Hey, no problem. So, what we intended to ask is uh, see why most of us from an SEO lens jump right into fixing the problem rather than first understanding the problem at a larger landscape.
So mm, it depends. Um, like even if we have that patience as an SEO practitioner, there are something that we cannot control, and that is, the panic from the client side or the higher management side. So it depends, uh, and it is something that is forced to an SEO. Uh, that okay, these are things are not happening. Something is just traffic. Let's say traffic is dropping. So do something. So in that panic mode, SEO person need to show that he is doing something. And that's where we start fixing the symptoms instead of our long term strategies.
Yeah, I guess I agree to that because end of the day, your client or your management are going to question what is happening. So yeah, good point. Kamlesh, you want to add something?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I think there are a lot of things that people are misguided due to this, and just like that, recently I got that ranking are drop, and everyone saying that, oh, have you checked done backing audit and technical audit and all that? But in the different thing that the real issue is search intent is different about that. So there are a lot of things that when you talk about SEO, and SEO is not based on a checklist that we are focused only those pointers, and apart from that, your own thoughts and R&D included. Yeah,
No,
that's it.
fantastic. No, perfect, perfect. So interesting. I guess the conversation has become one is from an agency side. Also, it's like yes, you still need to be answerable to the customers and show that some actions are being taken, and even on a brand side, there is a similar kind of notion that action is being taken, and that probably leads us to start fixing the problem without clearly understanding or defining the problem itself. So let me go deeper into it and say, at what stage do you often see some of the problem getting misdiagnosed, right? Is it during some of the data review or stakeholder meetings or during audits? Where do you most commonly find that, okay, there is a problem and we have kind of misdiagnosed that problem?
I think so. It's when this particular channel is being discussed with the stakeholders or the ones who take the decision of the marketing budget. So the day one expectations being set, where the narrative is being discussed. So that's where the marketing budget versus the timeline expectation versus the investment ROI expectations are set. And once that story sets in the very early conversations with the stakeholders or CMO or VP of marketing, all the following actions taken by the SEO team and every particular action, every audit, every reporting tries to prove it or justify it that we are aligned. But I think so it's very important to set the right expectations from day one.
Okay. Agency perspective,
Okay.
Isha.
Um, I mean, I don't know if the answer is from agency perspective or the brand perspective, but but if I really have to say that, okay, when do we start seeing that, we misjudged the thing and made a wrong decision? Of course, like, I mean, because reporting is part of the integral part, we are doing it monthly, some places weekly, and so of course the data speaks for itself. But apart from data, also there are times when I have personally seen that the moment when we start executing something. So, for example, if we saw particular data and we felt like that these pages need some sort of changes, and we assume that these pages need changes because of these themes which we have identified. And the moment we start implementing those themes, we realize that no, it is not making sense or it is not going in line from the longer run perspective. Then also that decision is either hold or the client is being or even the founder is being educated that let's just wait. Let's just wait for, fine, we have found the problem. We're not talking about the solution at this point of time. Let's see if a minimalistic change can impact it. That is point number one. Point number two is, uh, I mean, that's one strategy which we always work on, that whenever there is any kind of a change, or rather any uh, thing happen where we need to make multiple changes on specific pages of the site, we ensure that we are doing it on phase wise so that we know that which one is getting impacted and which one is contributing to the positive or the negative side. Of course, at that time also, it is very important, as Parth already said, to set up the expectation. Don't expect that, the moment you make the change, the problem will be solved. There could also be there could also be a possibility that you end up getting into another bigger problem also. So you have to tell that and educate that also to the person. And again, like as I said, it also depends on what kind of problems we are. If it is a if it is a very minimalistic problem, maybe because of the algorithm changes or industry-wide changes. So, for example, if you remember the long back when suddenly off-page was an issue when people were saying that you need to disavow the links and get the quality of the website better. So if those kind of things are happened or other content needs to be improved. So if it's a very simple problem, then yes, it need to be implemented and has to be documented through. But if it is a very complicated problem, like there's no right and wrong answer to it. It is more like a gray thing which you have identified. Then you should be very cautious of whatever changes you are doing. Don't do it immediately. I always tell, like, even if with my clients, if there is a drop which is happening, and if it is not a seasonality drop, and it's a genuine drop which is happening, I always tell them at least wait for a month. If by next month things will be normalized, then we will not make any major change. But if by next month we feel like no more competitors have came up, could be another reason, then we will decide on what needs to be done.
Great points. And if I have to go on the other side of the table and see, there are chances, or the most likely scenario is, say, someone that uh, a senior stakeholder probably may not understand SEO as deep as people like us do. And at that point of time, for them, they may not really understand or even know that a problem is happening, because we can always turn around some numbers, some reports, and say, okay, everything is going fine. But at the back end, we know that it is something is not wrong. So, do those scenarios also happen? And so, how do you manage those scenarios? Because do you typically say, no, everything is fine, but at the back end, you and your team are still working out on the numbers or on the problem and saying, okay, we will address it by the time the next reviews or the next report is supposed to go?
So, transparent communication is the key. Uh, Even if the expectations are not clearly discussed at the start of the campaign, and when there's something that goes south, probably 3 months down the line, that's the best possible right time to again realign the expectations and commit. So that's one point. Another point which I want to add is, if there's something which has changed which is not in your control, whether that's an SERP change, whether it's because of Google AI overviews, or any particular change that you are noticing with respect to your industry, and it's also affecting your competitors as well. I think so the stakeholders are expecting you as SEO to inform them well in advance. So I've been on both the sides, and I've seen that The stakeholders come up with a problem statement they have seen across on LinkedIn or Twitter that, hey, is this true? Is this happening? And if they are the first one to figure out and then reach out to you, that's a kind of a red flag in our industry. So rather you be on top of things and just give a heads up that, hey, there's a seasonality coming on, or we'll see a drop of 10% for the next quarter because of XYZ reasons. That is very very important when your channel is organic search, and when your KPIs are directly tied with the business numbers. For sure, it's important for you to inform them about the projections that are going to change in the near future. So yeah, my 2 cents. But we have Kamlesh, Isha, Deepak.
Sure.
I 100% agree to what Parth said. I think transparency is more than transparency. I would say, see, it's all about trust. So if you are going to, like, as Malha, you just said that, I mean, we all know it very well. We all know how to manipulate our report. We all know what needs to be shown. If we want to just show uh, the rosy picture out of it. But in the long run, that doesn't work because see, you need to understand the person who's sitting at the head is also not someone who doesn't have a brain. So, so it's always better to be to show them, even if you are bad, show them the true picture and tell them why this is happening. Because if things are not in your control, things are not in your control. Uh, Rather than making it a very rosy thing just to ensure that a client has to be safe. And second, as Path already said, it is always better, like because see, if someone has hired you, which means that they expect you to be the leader in that particular industry, both from brand side and even from the agency side. That from the brand side, they expect you to be the brand custodians, and they ensure that they want you to be not just have the brand understanding, also have the industry understanding how the brand could be resonated with each platform. So that I mean, I feel that if it's like for management to expect that is a very minimalistic expectation, and and from our side, if we need to fulfill it, the most important thing which we have to do is, of course, like we have to ensure that we are true to what things are. Second, I feel that we also have to talk in a language which they understand. So, I mean, I would say that if it's a digital marketing head at a person who's at a brand side and he's talking to a senior management, he has to tell them that among each platform, why one is not performing, how the one is getting resonate to another one, and he has to basically talk about the bigger picture to his management. And from the agency side, if I have to talk to you, if I have to put it up, and if it is like if it's a client who is expecting uh, direct SEO performance and they are evaluating you. They have hired you because they feel that you know the industry, you know what is good for their brand, and if you and even if it is going because so I'll tell you this is something that even my client told me that Isha, it is the problem is not about uh, the performance going bad. The problem is you people are not telling us. So even if the performance is going bad, you have to tell us. There could be a reason that maybe we are not working on or you guys are not working on, which is completely okay. Like we all are humans, we make those issues. But if we are not going to report it regularly, if we are not going to watch it regularly, how will we know that there's a problem?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll underline all the points mentioned by Isha, and totally agree. Like, the stakeholder has got multiple different verticals to allocate budget into. And if we clearly give them a heads up that, hey, next quarter it's going to be a little haywire, so maybe if they want to reallocate 25% of the SEO budget to other channels, at the end of the day, these are levers of getting those quality leads, or probably conversion for your product or services. So it's very important and crucial for the stakeholder.
Oh, perfect. And I wanted to follow up on that with, see, many times. Do you think it's easier to go and just say there is a Google update and we are trying to understand what is happening, but there is a traffic drop or there is a conversion drop, and just put it on a Google update? Have you seen such scenarios working out? That is one part of the question. The second part of the question is in today's day and age, right, where a lot of uh, say fluctuations is a norm, given all algo tech changes happening around us, on the behavior change happening around us. How do you play this, right? Because if you need to, one is figuring out the problem, second is handling the misdiagnosis.
Yeah, fantastic question. I think so. Uh, for example, if there's a drop in traffic, if there's a drop in overall organic visibility, and if we blame Google update or AI algorithm update, so what does that do? That just puts or externalizes the responsibility. Now, no one owns Google, not as SEOs, nor do we control it, nor the stakeholders. But blaming on updates kind of only avoids uncomfortable internal questions about systems, handoffs, and decisions. But that's not the way to go. If there is any Google update, and as an SEO, we need to roll up our sleeves and we need to know the patterns that hey, this particular tactic is being uh, overly misused by other practitioners, and we might end up getting uh, penalized or probably shadow banned. So let's always take an approach of like Whitehead has your branded approach, and let's always play it safe, balanced game when it comes to smaller tactics, which could harm us on a longer run. So when you're working on a brand side, or even when you are in an agency side, you don't want to risk your client's visibility for on a longer picture. So yeah, it's about going forward and owning the drop and trying to explain like, hey, we have been doing XYZ in the right way, but this is something external factor. Google has suddenly come up and come up with image packs or video packs or local packs, and that has dropped the third ranking position below the fold, and that is why we are seeing like a 40% drop in our CTR. So that's a valid explanation, but that's just diagnosis. Like, what is your plan of action for those lost clicks or traffic? So if you are proactive about the next steps and plan of action, where probably you have some ideas to compensate that traffic, that is what the stakeholders are expecting from SEOs.
Yep. I want to add one more thing that most of the stakeholders' expectations are they compare the our SEO expectation from paid campaign, and this is happened with the one of my brand that I'm working with. That so their expectations like if they are running any paid campaign and the conversion are very good from paid campaign, but not from the SEO campaign. So most of the time that they said, okay, मेरे को इससे X conversion आ रहा है, but as from SEO point of view से कुछ भी conversion नहीं आ रहा है. So from that angle, it is very difficult to explain them that why our conversion are low from the if you compare with the paid campaign. So in that case, I am mostly using that the implementation thing that what are our current problems, and if we fix them, then maybe we can get X conversion. But it is totally biased if we compare with paid campaigns. And second thing that the stakeholders know, को जब भी कुछ भी बात समझानी होती, so I used to do one thing that I'm using first thing that what are my technical scenarios, and I just make a checklist, and then I go to the chat GPT and ask them that okay, prepare this report for the stakeholder so that they can understand. So this is how I try to do to explain them what are my problems and what are my goals in next quarter and next 6 months. So this is what I do from my end, and also I have explained them that these are the current problems that are not fixed yet. So basis on that, we cannot completely blame to Google, and we should also focus on our social media handles and our ORM as well as, because right now I have seen that part of videos on Manish Swan when interview ले रहे थे. Then Manish Swan ने एक बहुत अच्छी बात बोली थी कि then customer is there, but you have to be understand very carefully that you have to manage everything, that you also focus on your social media handle, and you should also focus on your website as well. If anything is breaking from any angle, then that will cost you through your conversion, because you never know आपका customer कहाँ से convert होगा. वो social media की post पे से convert हो सकता है, वो Reddit की किसी post से भी convert हो सकता है. So there are a lot of angles which I think we should focus as a SEO. That right now, one of my clients that they did not post anything on during the Christmas, and I reached that point that you guys at least post something on during a uh, like holidays, अगर वो इतना बड़ा इवेंट है तो, बिकॉज लोगों को उस चीज से फर्क पड़ता है. अगर हम सिर्फ एंगेजमेंट की बात करेंगे, देन लोग सिर्फ एंगेजमेंट की पर्सपेक्टिव से भी आपको फॉलो नहीं करते. वो आपको देखते हैं कि एज ए ब्रांड व्हाट आर यू डूइंग न्यू थिंग्स, what are your innovative ways that to upbring your brand in the SERP? Yeah.
Oh, fantastic points. Fantastic. Uh, yeah. Sorry, Isha. You're saying something?
Yes, so I just wanted to reiterate my one of my point again. So here again, that same thing comes up, trust and getting the right thing. Because uh, even if you're blaming SEO algorithm, first you need to identify whether that blame is right or wrong. So I tell you what I do. I usually, if there is an algorithm update, or rather, like like for example, AI overview was happening, and we all know that clicks were going down, and that was an industry-wide thing which is happening. So I was already educating my client on the same thing, that this is going to happen. So you need to start accepting that, or rather, you need to start. And also the way we were like the way Kamlesh has mentioned that SEO is not a silos channel. We all know that how brand is very important, because that's how it leads to a brand keyword visibility, and why people search for a particular brand and then come to you. So discovery happens at that time also. So I usually start educating my clients also on the same thing, that this is important to you. You cannot expect just because you're doing SEO and you are ranking, you will get the traffic. Even if you are ranking, I can help you get ranked. But there is, I can also ensure that my CTR is very good, but I cannot guarantee that a person is going to click on that particular link, even if you are ranking on the first position, second position, or third position. And of course, if we even get the traffic, there's no guarantee that the conversion happens. So it's not just one entity job. It has to be holistically thought through. Like the SEOs have to be in sync with all of those things. Now, coming back to the question where you said that we put our blame on maybe an algorithm update, I would say you should not just blindly put a blame on the algorithm update. You should, if you're sure about it, that yes, this has happened because maybe historically you did some gray hat techniques, and maybe the algorithm update can hamper your site, then acknowledge it. That okay, this is what maybe we did. We did a programmatic SEO, maybe that shooted in the wrong side, and it could be a reason. So if that has happened, one has to be acknowledging it. I would say that I mean sometimes I actually play very smartly on algorithm thing, not directly blaming algorithm, but telling them that if you will. So, for example, if there are some things which I know that client is not approving, maybe because of their budget constraint, or they don't want to churn in too much of content, or they don't have too much of strength to create PR or do the rest of the things. I usually try to create an FOMO around them that if you will not do this tomorrow, this can happen to you also, and if that will happen, then don't come to me that you were not performing. So it all depends on how you put it up to the management or the client.
Wow, nice conversation. And the intent was not to say that we don't convey about the uh, Google update, but also sometimes we just push it, right? And if I understand it correctly, Shai, Parth, and Kamlesh, right? So some of you proactively say whenever a Google update comes up, you would proactively go and say, okay, there could be a chance that you might face, say, lower conversions or say lower traffic, etc. How much of your time also, say, probably during your stakeholder conversations or stakeholder meetings, how much of your time also goes in educating the stakeholders on some of the problem statements, or even alerting them that there could be a problem? How much time do you actually spend, right? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just giving an overview or gyan of ye ho raha hai, or this might happen.
Oh, I think so. That's something a lot of SEOs would be facing, and great question actually. Um, Two perspectives here. A, if we have to kind of give a lot of time educating the client, so either the client is very much interested in doing SEO, so then there's a question: why has the client hired an SEO specialist? It's not worth the client's time. And if he or she has hired a particular SEO candidate or senior person, whatever, then trust them. The only thing that should be done from uh, SEOs is try to communicate it in business numbers and revenue, that hey, here is a Google update being rolled out about the the discover feed. The recent core update was around discover feed, and these are these are the changes that are expected in the coming weeks. Once the Google update kind of is concluded in next couple of weeks, I'll share you more concrete data. But at this point in time, we have been receiving 15% of our total traffic from discover. So worst case, we might have to realign and we might see a drop in that 15%. So, but whatever it is, here is the plan of action, and this could affect our revenue by 5%. So, if we just clearly communicate it, yeah, that's going to help. At the end of the day, if you share them a lot of nuances and equations and all the query fan outs and all the AI ML language, that's going to confuse them, and they're going to dig deep into. At the end of the day, they are looking for revenue numbers, so they don't give them complex equations and formulas, so that they keep on scratching that. And the second perspective was, if that's the case, if you have to keep on feeding and educating your client very frequently, and this keeps on happening for like 2 to 3 months, it's a red flag. I think so you should not continue your contract with that client, because it is not worth their effort or your effort. This has been my experience so far, but yeah. Hey Joel, thanks for joining in.
Yeah, Isha, you, yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that it depends on, again, like the typical SEO word, it depends. It depends on how important or how much impactful it is for a particular client. So, like for example, right now we all know that every single day there is another update or another case scenario which is coming. So of course you are not putting up too much of an effort, and as Parth already mentioned, you're not educating them on anything and everything. I personally, the way I do is I usually, when I'm creating my monthly report and basis on the number, if I feel that there is a correlation between an update and a number fluctuation, or there is a correlation between an industry-wide update and that can impact my particular client, then I'll spend 5-10 minutes explaining them pertaining with a proper example, data driven, as Parth already mentioned. That's it. That's it. Not giving anything more, and not giving the complete article and everything for them to go through it. But again, having said that, I will also say that it depends on who is also on the other side. So, for example, if my client whom I'm dealing with is an owner, I'll be very cautious on what I'm telling them. Just talking about, as Pat said, just talking about the numbers, just telling them that uh, what what could be an impact in the future and what are the things where they should be looking into. Like, for example, if there is a change which is happening in the Google's algorithm itself, or tomorrow, for example, ChatGPT is putting up putting their own shopping cart additional to it, and something that can be a game changer for the client, then I'll put that much of effort to explain to the owner. But if it is a digital marketing expert, because and that's what I've seen. Being at the agency side, I've also seen this scenario also, that if there's an marketing expert there, or other a CMO, or other a digital marketer who's sitting there, they expect that, they always say that, you people in the agency side, you have more data on what are the things which is happening. So for them, I might give them more information, or rather give them some reference articles, because they need those information to convince their management. They might not put everything and anything there, but yes, there I will spend more time in telling them that, this is what is happening. Just go up and read it, give them the references as well. So again, like, it depends on the scenario to scenario, whom we are dealing with it, and how important and how impactful that is.
Just to add here, I think so. I missed that point, but thanks to Isha for bringing that up. Yeah, if you're doing a white labeling business, then for sure you need to help your mediator client, like from for with whom you're working or coordinating closely, to get that buy-in or to kind of explain them. For sure, the perspective changes when you are in a white label scenario. And yeah, thanks Isha for putting that across.
Yes, Anand, please.
Yeah, I think as far as results perspective, the clients also maintain their data. And so far, I have seen that they also have somewhat idea of what is happening and how it's gonna affect their business. And in particularly, if I speak particularly in my case, the client already have a spreadsheet, which tells them about drop or increase in clicks or impressions kind of metrics. So yes, I think as an SEO, we don't need much efforts to explain them, I feel, because they also have somewhat idea and data as well.
Fair. Good conversation. I'm liking what is being shared so far. So, uh, if I had to tweak this entire conversation a bit and say, okay, what could be the hidden cost of fixing the wrong SEO problem? So, you misdiagnosed something, you started fixing that problem, but so beyond a traffic loss, what are some of those hidden costs that you have experienced during your course of career so far?
See, I think the biggest, so for me, what I've seen is the biggest cost is even more than traffic, it is a resource cost because you're putting up a resource and the time and the effort. Second is a tool cost. You might be, uh, so I've seen that a lot of people, to just they get uh, fascinated by some update which has happened and suddenly a new tool has came up and they might need to go and invest in that particular tool so that like it's a resource cost, it's a tool cost, and you already talked about the traffic cost, but there are times where uh, because of the traffic, you end up losing your revenue and leads as well. So it can cost you more than that. And one oh I remember one with one client, not directly with us, but I remember there was a scenario where even the reputation was on the cost because they made some changes and post that their whole brand reputation has gone on toss.
Yeah, Parth.
Absolutely agree, and I think so. A You are living like a lot of time would be wasted, and that wasted time is going to cost uh, that particular business brand a lot because competition is moved forward, and then there'll be a lot of misalignments within the team, and there'll be a trust erosion for sure. Like there'll be no trust between the teams as well. So more than traffic loss, it's learning the wrong lessons and kind of repeating them again. So that's very much, and I think so. Time is the main culprit here. Yeah, Nirud.
So earlier Path mentioned about the budget allocation. So let's say it will, the stakeholders might reduce that 25% of budget, for example, and it might reduce or impact 5% of the revenue. So let's say, for example, they reduce the budget for now for 3 months, and after 3 months, we have started seeing the results. And if we need more budgets at that time to upgrade, so at that time they might not trust us, or we might have to prove our point again to them. So that could be a loss as well.
Oh, that's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up, Anirudh. That has been the case for us being SEOs. If we reduce our budgets for any particular process, or if we say that hey, we don't need this tool for next 3 months, then again we'll have to re-justify every effort. But it depends on, like, if you are clearly saying that hey, next 3 months is more of festive this thing, October, November, December, and the search demand is going to go low while our target audience is going to be more active on socials. So in those 3 months, if the budget is being allocated to the social team, paid social team, or the influencer marketing team, that's okay. But by January, again, the demand is going to be back, and we'll have to put in same amount of inputs and investment into SEO to again get back to the results that we are producing in January 2026. So that should be the explanation with a clear this thing, and also showcase that hey, if we don't get back the budgets, while you are proposing that hey, that's okay, I'm just giving you a heads up. So it's not about giving them solutions that hey, you reduce the budget. It's about just giving them a heads up. So stakeholder being stakeholder, they'll take their own call and whether they want to move the budget from this team to the other team, or other marketing vertical. So it's their call. But when they are doing that, always flag the repercussions of that. Hey, if we are moving the budgets and if we don't get back the budget, please expect that 15% drop in traffic going forward. So yeah, just show the futuristic output, and I think so. We are good, safe.
Oh, wow. Cool. I know we are just last 5 minutes into for this conversation, so uh, this I still have to bring the AI part, right? Because we cannot leave any conversation without talking about AI. AI driven search world is a reality. What happens now in terms of what could be the potential misdiagnosis in your opinion, right? What where can people go wrong and what should they be actually looking at?
I think so. With AI being uh, quite an important character, quite an important um, part of the overall SEO process. Um, it's going to help to find out a lot of reasoning to the hypothesis that we make. A, it helps to automate and amplify a lot of systems that we are spending probably weeks or months, could be done in days or weeks. And if you want to experiment something, AI just helps us fail faster, I would say. So uh, yeah, that's going to help. Yeah, I probably have a contrarian opinion here, but yeah, if you guys have any thoughts, please do share it across.
For me, I would say that one of the biggest misdiagnoses which is going to happen because of this AI world is that, and I've seen people are doing it, that whenever there's a drop in clicks are happening, it is directly correlating to with AI overview coming to the site, and which is not the reason, which is always not the reason. Uh, uh, so, uh, so a biggest misdiagnosis is the data itself, that you are interpreting that the data is changing and fluctuation because of AI. Second biggest misdiagnosis which is going to happen is that uh, the content, if it is not being acknowledged, or rather, if it is not ranking the way it is not performing in the way AI, the way it is performing in the Google SERPs, it looks like the content is not right. Again, this is another misdiagnosis. It is not. So you're not creating content always just for either an AI engine or for a Google engine. You are creating your content for your customers, for your users, and if that content is solving the purpose in one or the other way, that's something which needs to be understand into. And in one scenario, I know, like, I've seen that people have completely said that because of AI, my revenue has dropped, my clicks has dropped. And one website, while I was analyzing, I realized that it was not AI because of which their revenue has was dropped. It was their brand presence gone dropped because of that revenue has dropped. They did some branding activities because of which the brand got sudden spike and their revenue got increased. So uh, 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 again, it is a misdiagnosis which people, like as Parth already said, it's going to be very fast failure. It is also going to be faster win and again fast failure. So that's another going to be a bigger issue with AI.
Okay, fantastic. Anirudh, Deepak.
Yeah. So, first of all, I agree to what Parth and Isha said, and to add uh, one point, I have seen many people, especially beginners who are in SEO for 1 or 2 years, they make mistakes of taking ChatGPT suggestions as it is, as literal. Like they ChatGPT, if ChatGPT is saying something, that must be true. And I have seen with company management or uh, other stakeholders as well. So this could lead to a problem because LLM is just a predicting model that predicts next word possible or the very next uh, word that is suitable in that context.
Okay, fantastic. And like we always say, there are no wrong answers. So thank you for all the inputs. We are up on the hour and lovely conversation.
Malhar, but just one last point because when the moment Deepak said, I also realized one important thing, which I am personally feeling. Uh, Now, because of AI, what is happening is that uh, whatever AI is giving suggestions. So I'll just talk about, like example, I'm doing an SEO audit and I'm asking the AI to do audit. Our brains are right now getting so compact that we are just thinking on the way AI is putting it up into, and we are actually rather than misdiagnosis, we are not thinking the broader way the way we used to. So that's one of the, I mean, my worry also for the future things, and one of the bigger impact which can happen in the AI world, because our recommendations, our audits, our suggestions are now becoming the way AI is expecting us to, and our thought process are getting very limited to the way they are. Even if we ask the questions, those questions will only be come into the border of what they've been talked about. Now I mean, if there is someone who's actually an intellectual person who really can think through, can really interact too, but if we talk about commoners, they're really going to just accept whatever is coming and take it.
Isha, other side of the problem is our recommendation and our suggestions are again fed to chat GPT by our stakeholders and we being questioned on those. so that is the future that we are living in, that we will get questioned for anything we do. And yeah, but
That's why it's more
Stakeholders
scary.
ask questions based on suggestions of ChatGPT.
Only if we could train ChatGPT or Gemini that the recommendations that you give us, if that gets questioned, make sure you take our side. That's crazy. But yeah, we need to evolve and adapt to the current market trends, and accordingly, we should have some USP with respect to how can experience play into the picture, and what is the right timing for right, probably this action and the strategy that we build into. Um, because no AI is going to help any brand to recover from Google Core updates or stuff like that. It's a lot of iterations. Yeah. Yes, Deepak.
At least we discuss here on our own, not on the basis of ChatGPT's suggestions.
so far, yes, we don't know how long. We could probably have avatars coming in, joining next time.
Jokes apart,
I
but please go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, Isha,
no,
please.
no, I was just saying. I mean, I'll be more excited. I really want to see that that world coming up soon, because although we are talking about it, yes, we will need our own, and our own agents, our own bots here, and there is a possibility that even the SEO talks will get popular that because of the bots traffic.
Oh yeah. Yes, Anirudh, you want to go?
Actually, we are taking it as a joke, but the game is really going on for, content plus commerce thing, and all those stuff is there, and it's kind of getting integrated with LLMs also. So rather than, persuading them to buy directly from LLMs, so we need to work on content to match more and more intent and kind of making it more likewise, more socially proof and all those things are literally going on. So we literally don't know that whether ChatGPT would take our side or not.
No, absolutely. Deepak,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty of SEO and digital marketing, that we don't know yet we are experts.
all right. On that note, we close our session for today. Lovely